Hola, ¿cómo están? Vamos a ver cómo poner los subtítulos. Los subtítulos los ponen en inglés, ¿correcto? Nos vamos a opciones. Acá pueden poner todos los colores que quieran, opacidad, etcétera. Vamos a por inglés generado automáticamente y con la traducción automática de inglés a español, ¿correcto? Por ejemplo, acá lo tengo, lo podemos traducir a cualquier idioma. Activen siempre los subtítulos, lo traducimos. Lo traducimos, por ejemplo, podemos traducirlo al chino, lo que sea, pero en este caso lo vamos a traducir al español. Y eso sería todo. Acá está la traducción perfecta, ¿correcto? Nos vemos adentro. Bueno, estamos acá en otro video. Vamos a hacer una entrevista acá con el fabuloso Avenger One y el extraordinario piloto herbicida.
¡Ole, toma! ¡Toma! ¡Tomar por culo al torito! Got him!
Got him. Good job.
Good fight.
Alright, missiles on 6, I'm gonna kind of try to evade these.
Vamos a hacerles algunas preguntas. Bienvenido a los dos. ¿Cómo están? How are you?
Hello. Hola. Buenas.
Hello, hello. Hello,
Say
Avenger.
hello, Avenger. Just that.
Avenger, just say hi.
Hi.
Vamos a empezar con las preguntas. A ver, para ambos, las unas preguntas. ¿Cuál fue la primera nave de ustedes? Y si tienen alguna nave favorita y por qué.
Alright, so the first question will be which one was your first spaceship? Why did you pick it? And if you have a favorite one right now.
First one was the Origin 325A because I didn't know what else to buy at the time and it looked cool. And that was like way back in the day, like that was like when it first remember the hangar module?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started goofing around with it. And then my favorite fighter, because after a while I started not enjoying the 325A. It just was never a great fighter. I started flying the Arrow and I love the Arrow. I absolutely adore the Arrow. It's always been my favorite fighter. It's still my favorite fighter. I thought it'd be the Mark II Hornet, but after flying it around and, you know, I like my Arrow more. Out of all the fighters, the Arrow has always been my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So.
¿Y en tu caso, herbicida?
En mi caso, pues empecé con una Aurora y luego pasé una 315P.
Ok.
Y a día de hoy, pues no tengo ninguna nave favorita porque hay muchos estilos diferentes de jugar en Star Citizen.
Claro.
Y me adapto a todos, me gustan todos, entonces no se puede tener una nave favorita.
¿Cómo describirías tu estilo de pilotaje para ambos? ¿Y cuál ha sido tu experiencia más memorable en el juego en cuanto a batallas espaciales o esas cosas?
Okay, what was my favorite experience, my favorite battle experience on Star Citizen? Asking me that.
Uh-huh.
Pues creo que fue reciente, Idris versus Idris. Estábamos capturando una Idris y nos encontramos con otra Idris capturada también por jugadores en Xenotred.
Sí.
Y fue como amor a primera vista entre los dos grupos. Nos vimos y nos empezamos a pegar durísimo y teníamos claro que queríamos ambos grupos disfrutar de esa batalla. Y después de eso, pues fue como ellos se vinieron a hablar con nosotros estábamos felicitándolos por la batalla porque fue un momento increíble la primera vez que nos pegábamos con naves de ese tamaño, ¿no? Eso fue mi experiencia más favorita y, o sea, la mejor experiencia que tuve recientemente, ¿no?
My favorite battle experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jumptown.
Jumptown.
Always been it's always been my favorite. You know, sometimes it's really exciting, sometimes it's kind of boring, but the best experiences I've had have been at Jumptown because it's combined arms. You have aircraft, air to ground.
Yes.
You have all kinds of cool stuff. To me, that's Star Citizen at its best. When it comes to PvP, I think Jumptown has been my favorite. Ghost Hall will be a close second, but Jumptown for sure.
Hope we can have a Jumptown in ADC, man. That will be magic.
Yeah, or Theaters of War, maybe.
Okay.
Oh yeah, remember
I see there.
¿Podrías compartirnos, Avenger y Herbicida, algún truco para el pilotaje? ¿Alguna maniobra que pocas personas conocen, digamos? ¿Alguna técnica media escondida?
Asking us if we can we can share a secret to pilot or a tip to be a good pilot in Star Citizen.
A tip to
I
be a
don't
good
know.
pilot?
Yeah.
Oof.
Time.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most all-encompassing tip I can give anybody is don't ever give up. That's number one.
Mhm.
2, give yourself some time. And 3, be patient. You're gonna make mistakes. Keep making mistakes.
Mhm.
Keep
Mhm.
making progress. And then when you look back, a couple months later, you're like, wow, but it's here. It's here. It's
Mm.
not so much in the sticks. It's just making sure every day that you slowly get better and you don't give up. A lot like trying to get something done in life. I mean, it's the same thing. Star Citizen is not an easy game to pick up. It doesn't hold your hand. It's very deep. So give yourself time. I can't tell you how many people play the game and within a week or two, they're like, oh, I give up, and they walk away.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's a really great experience to be had. It just takes time to dust it off and get to it.
Sí, lo que está diciendo básicamente es que lo que diría yo, no te rindas, persigue lo que es el objetivo, ¿no? Y es una cosa que es en la cabeza, ¿no? Que es una mentalidad. Pero also is I think with master modes things is getting easy for people, at least for start, to have a little taste about what kind of fight it can be, right? Because in the last model we had, the learning curve was too high, I think. But now, yeah, I mean, it's easy to the people to introduce. O sea, es mucho más fácil para la gente que se introduzca ahora en la batalla, y es lo que dice Avenger One. Es constancia, día tras día, day by day, y tratar de no desanimarse, de estar siempre pues intentando echarle horas. Hace falta tiempo y tener paciencia. Lo que ha dicho Avenger,
Claro.
tal cual.
Ujú. Sí. ¿Cómo gestionan ambos los cambios que son frecuentes en el juego, ¿no? Las actualizaciones? ¿Cómo las enfrentan? O sea, es decir, cada actualización que vienen, ustedes tienen que irse acostumbrando, adaptándose, ¿no?
Okay, Avenger. So she's saying that how did you face the changes that come on every patch? How do you adapt to them? If they're just too hard, or maybe it's something that you're just getting used to it.
Oh boy. Well, this one's been the hardest change, that's for sure. Again, it comes here, right? You just can't give up. Whatever, I've been through so many different changes with the game. Urbizia has been through the same changes as I have since the beginning. We've been through 4 separate flight models. 4.
And 5, hover mode.
Yes, that. Oh yeah, we don't talk about hover mode.
The beauty of
But
Retool.
it's, people have been hired, fired, hired again, promoted, hired, and transferred 4 or 5 different times now when it comes to the flight model, and I've been there for every single iteration of the game. The game has changed so much. We've seen so many little things and big things, and this is just another change in a long list of changes, which is sometimes why I get so frustrated or passionate about what's going on, is because I've been around longer than some developers that are in the company. They come in with their ideas, and I'm like, actually, we tried that. But it's like communism. Like, we're going to do it right this time. It's like, no, that's not how this works. So it's like, but
Oh my God.
it's difficult. It's stressful. But if you really love the game like I do, you'll get through it, but I totally understand why some people play the game, like a certain part of it, and then it changes, and then they kind of fall out of love with the game. I think they were kind of in love with a certain part of it, and when that changes, they go off and do something else. I mean, it's what created HunterNet. A lot of guys loved a previous flight model, and they got so frustrated and upset that Star Citizen changed that they said, you know what? We're going to go make our own game, and it's going to be better. And ironically enough, it is. It's a much better flight experience than what we have now. But, it's part of the iterative process that CIG keeps talking about. And hopefully CIG will see that they had something really, really great, and they can kind of bring Master Modes back into where we had something really amazing with all the updates that Master Modes does well. So it's just time, patience, and if you really love it, you'll stick with it. You'll find a way to keep on going.
Lo cierto es que a la hora de que esto cambie, cada vez que el modelo de vuelo cambia, hay como una parte dulce, ¿no? Hay como una parte dulce que es el momento de descubrir qué es lo que hay y qué es lo que va a estar fuerte, cómo están todas las armas.
Ujú.
Y que, lamentablemente, pues eso se ve estropeado con el paso del tiempo cuando la gente descubre el meta. Y entonces, pues, es vuelta a empezar y vuelta a esperar a que hagan correcciones, ¿no?
Exacto.
En algún momento esto se terminará. Se terminará en el punto de que yo creo que cada vez están ajustando más fino. Y cada vez, pues, el juego, pues, tiene, digamos que es más justo, ¿no? Es más justo con las habilidades de los jugadores. Pero sí que es cierto que bueno, que es un proceso y que a veces pues puede resultar un poquito frustrante para la gente. Pero que aún así me da mucha ilusión cuando realmente meten cambios. Todos estamos ilusionados cuando realmente meten cambios y vamos a probar como locos todo tipo de cosas, emisiones,
Ujú, sí.
daños de armas, velocidades de armas, explorar páginas como Hercule o
Ujú.
cualquier cosa. Nos volvemos locos buscando, ¿no? La gente que amamos el PvP nos volvemos locos buscando información y probando cosas entre nosotros, sobre todo en PTU, en Evocati, en donde sea, ¿no?
Sí.
So I just telling an Avenger that this sweet moment when things change, right? That we try to find every info we can get to improve or to know about the model, right? And I love that moment. I love that moment, but sadly that moments get crushed when the meta comes, right? But
There's
it is
always
what
a
it is.
meta. There's
Yeah.
always a meta, and there always
Yeah.
will be. That's what people need to realize.
Bueno, la siguiente pregunta, muy interesante ambas respuestas. ¿Cuál es la opinión que ustedes tienen sobre la comunidad de Star Citizen? ¿Es una comunidad tóxica? ¿Es una comunidad que es de gente muy joven o de gente muy adulta? ¿Es una buena comunidad o no tan buena? ¿Cómo lo ven ustedes?
Okay, so the next question is like, how do you see the community? If you think that it's a toxic community, it's a good community. Also things like, yeah, basically that part.
Oh, you guys. So I've been around for a long time. I've been in many different online communities. I was part of the Star Wars Squadrons community. I was part of the EVE Online community. I've been part of so many different communities. The reality is there are very good and very toxic elements of every community, no matter what group you're part of. I have seen some extremely toxic people in the Star Citizen community, which like borderlines criminal behavior. I researched and exposed some of it through the Rings documentaries that I did. But there's dark corners of the internet everywhere you go. But if there's dark corners, that also means that there's a lot of really great people. I've met some unbelievably outstanding human beings through the Star Citizen community. Like, honestly, really, truly great people. And if one thing is for certain, if you take the tournament we ran a couple weeks ago, very clearly, we had a lot of people show up. A lot of people came to support in a really positive way. And so for me, to say that the Star Citizen community is toxic is just simply not true. They're a great community. They really are.
Yes.
The majority of them are really good people.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some bad elements of it, right? But I think it's our duty as content creators and as just people in general is to hold each other to a high standard of high caliber. and when we see this kind of behavior, not to shy away or be cowardly about exposing and confronting it. Because if you don't confront it, then it becomes a bigger problem. And
Yeah, sure.
at the risk of being polite, people may not engage. And I feel like, at least for me, I think that's maybe some reason why I get a lot of flack, is because I am quite confrontational about certain aspects. But I think it comes from a good place. I really do. I don't like bullies. I don't like people that are rude or mean, who try to take advantage of other people. The way I see it is like, if you see it and you can do something about it, you should do something about it, you know? But I want to be careful how I say this, because you have to be able to make the distinction between what happens in game and what is happening in real life.
Yeah,
Because
it's a sandbox, and people forget about it's a little role play in this game, and people get mad when they shouldn't.
yes, and that's difficult, because some people will take your behavior in game and be like, you know, and take it as you are that person.
Yeah.
And that is not true. Now, when it goes outside the game and it starts to affect people, that's where you have to be able to draw that line. And the thing is, that line isn't so clear. It sometimes is quite gray. So you have to, I think, have a strong set of values and morals to be able to sift through that and be like, okay, this is toxic, nasty behavior, and this is just part of the game, you know? So it's difficult. It can be hard to sort through that, but yeah, anyway, sorry, that was a long-winded way to answer the question.
Herbicida.
Nada, pues
Ya.
es básicamente lo que estábamos comentando, ¿no? De que pues Star Citizen es un juego que involucra... Es una simulación de lo que sería la humanidad 900 años en adelante, según pues Chris Roberts, basado en el Imperio Romano. Por lo tanto, hay cosas o hay comportamientos que pueden parecerse una realidad paralela, y que la gente tiene que entender que un juego es un juego, y que tú seas un pirata y robes una carga no significa que lo hagas en la vida real. Entonces, pero con respecto a lo que es la comunidad en general, y yo creo que es una comunidad bastante positiva, en donde la gente siempre se ayuda, pero como en todos los lados, pues te vas a encontrar a gente que bueno, pues que no tiene, bueno, pues tiene cosas en su vida que le hacen ser de otra manera con respecto a los demás. Y es una pena, ¿no? Porque el mundo de los videojuegos, yo creo que es bueno que la gente venga a divertirse
Exacto.
y a pasarlo bien, ¿no?
Para mí personalmente es una de las mejores comunidades en las que he estado de videojuegos.
Sí, sobre todo te puedo asegurar que ir a la SitCon y conocer a gente pues como Avenger, o conocer a gente como te podría nombrar un montón, Papa Freedom, Shul, gente de Black Fleet, gente de... O sea, es un montón de gente que conoces que tiene pasión, que comparte pasión, y que es un evento súper, súper positivo de actitud, en el que todo el mundo está deseando poder comentar acerca de naves, compartir acerca de sus experiencias en el juego. Te los encuentras luego combatiendo y tienes unas peleas feroces, o tienes unos momentos, yo qué sé, divertidísimos con ellos porque los conoces en persona. Entonces hay como ese medio troleo divertido entre la gente, ¿no? Porque se conoce. Entonces hay de todo, ¿no? Pero en general es una comunidad súper, súper buena, la de Star Citizen.
¿Qué opinan sobre lo que viene, el desarrollo del mismo juego, el futuro del juego? ¿Ustedes creen que realmente está próximo a que ya pase de ser un pre-alfa? ¿O está próximo o aún falta mucho, no? ¿Cuál es el futuro del videojuego? Un futuro cercano, digamos. Por favor, Wolf.
Okay, next question will be like, do you think the game has a near future release, like what we're talking in the beginning, like something like a pre-alpha or?
I heard that word. Yeah, I was like,
The
oh, I don't know.
the eternal question, man.
Well, look, I think we'll probably have something playable by the end of this year. Whether that's Squadron 42 or the first level, I don't know. I think we're probably pretty close to a release of Squadron 42, and I think we are decades away from a persistent universe that has gone from beta to live release. And I say decades away, and I don't mean to say that we're probably going to get to a point at which it's out of alpha within the next 5 years for the persistent universe. but we're not going to get those 50 to 100 systems until
Yeah.
decades from now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And that's
I guess
fine.
5. I guess
as long
5
as-
systems.
Yeah, I
5
mean,
systems.
I'm happy with just one system or two systems. I mean, that
Mhm.
there's so much to do
Yes.
in those
of
two
course.
systems, and
Yes,
so
yes.
many planets and all that. Microtech alone, like you could have land claims that would go on forever, but it's like you got to have people there to
Mm.
experience that content. You don't want Elite Dangerous where it's a mile wide and an inch deep, because now nobody gets to play with each other. And the whole point of playing in a sandbox is to engage with other human beings. Otherwise, it's this vast universe that feels empty, that feels soulless. And that's, I think, what you want to avoid. So if they can get the release of Squadron 42 out, gain a little interest in the project, get more people involved,
Yeah.
and then start working on Squadron 42 Part 2, I'm all for it. But I think we're probably within 5 years of the persistent universe
Mhm.
going to a place where if you lose your ship, it's not AUEC currency anymore. It's like UEC currency. And probably about a year to 2 years away from Squadron 42 being released as an entirely experience.
2 years.
All that stuff.
2 years.
Well, on the late end. I
Mm.
think earliest
Mhm.
this year, at the end of the year,
Mhm.
or early next year, and the latest, I think, the end of 2025. Now, I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but we used to joke about, Squadron 42 at 2020 back in 2014. We're like, we're not getting a Squadron 42 until 2020. It's 2024, and we still don't have Squadron 42. So all our estimates were way off. So take that with a grain of salt. But I think genuinely, we're probably closer to a Squadron 42 release than we realize, which is why I get so nervous and anxious about the state of the game's flight mechanics, because we don't really have a ton of time to polish, because to me, Master Modes needs a complete restructure, and yet CIG seems to think that they've figured it out, and clearly, looking at the feedback, that is not the case.
Herbicidad.
Pues yo creo que estamos ante la posibilidad de 1.0. El tema está en que recientemente pues Richard Tyler nos ha informado sobre tanto con los pilares, ¿no?, que tienen montados. Tanto Chris Roberts como que ha delegado bastante responsabilidad en Richard Tyler, y que él está pues apoyando lo que es la idea de una 1.0, que yo creo que podría llegar el año que viene. Porque si este año en Sitcon tenemos lo que sería Pyro 4.0 y tenemos Server Mesh este año, pues puede que el año que viene sí que tengamos un 1.0 que quizás no sea perfecta, pero quizás sea el comienzo ya de lo que viene siendo pues un MMO decente, ¿no? Porque al final lo que tenemos que entender es que World of Warcraft empezó siendo un WoW Classic y acabó siendo muchas otras cosas. ¿Por qué iba a ser
Claro.
distinto con Star Citizen, no? Y también el hecho de que no solo creo que la gente se va a preocupar por llegar, sino también de si el juego es divertido ahora. Que sea divertido es importante. Y como ha dicho Avenger One, hay mucho trabajo que hacer en Master Modes. Muchas cosas que hacer, porque realmente ahora mismo se está viendo como que hay problemas a la hora de balancear naves, y que realmente pues estamos teniendo pues mucho tiempo con esas naves sin ser balanceadas, y eso pues crea un impacto en la jugabilidad, ¿no?
Claro. ¿Qué características, ¿no? O qué nuevas implementaciones les gustaría ver en un futuro próximo? O sea, que salga ya. ¿Qué implementaciones? ¿Qué naves, tal vez? Por ejemplo, mi nave favorita es la Kraken, que la veo lejísimos. Desde que entré a jugar, la estoy esperando, ¿no? Por ejemplo. Pero no hay nada, ni por asomo. ¿Qué cosas, implementaciones, etcétera, les gustaría que salgan ya, ahora?
Okay, so next one will be which features or new implementations you like in the game. Also, maybe spaceships or anything that you want in the game in the near future.
I want more snub fighters, that's for sure. And in terms of gameplay features that I've enjoyed, I like... How do I say it this way? I like the boarding mechanics, and I'd like to see more fleshing out of how to get on people's ships and interdict and that kind of stuff. As far as creating content and getting content going, there's nothing more exciting than finding a ship, disabling it, getting on board, having a firefight with the crew. I've had a few experiences where I've had a full crew of people, and getting on board and having that boarding experience has been something out of my dreams. It's been really exciting. When the server's working and you find someone out there and it's a real firefight and you have a good time, you know,
Epic.
there's been very few games that have given me that experience. I've been like, yes, like this is what I stuck around for. So to see that more fleshed out, I think is really exciting, especially now that we have, you know, the Idris. We've been walking around the inside of the Idris, goofing around, having fun. To know that the Polaris is coming out soon and we have the Idris, and boarding, I think, is one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion.
Bueno, Vici, ¿a ti qué implementaciones nuevas te gustaría ver? Próximas naves.
Sí, mira, yo te voy a decir esto, construcción de bases, te lo voy a hacer así rápido y te lo voy a decir también en inglés porque yo creo que a Avenger aquí se le va a iluminar también la cara. I want to talk about also base building and raids to bases. That's gonna be fun for sure. I mean, is one of the mechanics I really hope they implement soon, because I think it's tons of fun for the people. More fun than, because a ship, yeah, you can borrow a ship, but you have to find a ship, right? And I think it's easy to find a spot to a base that try to find a ship in space, and we'll create more, more replayable content. I think that's the thing, yeah.
Okay.
O sea, básicamente construcción de bases, raids a bases, yo creo que eso va a estar muy bien. en el
Sí,
juego.
sí, sería excelente. Va a ser excelente, definitivamente. ¿Cómo ha influido Star Citizen en la vida diaria de ustedes? ¿Qué ha cambiado en su vida cuando Star Citizen ingresó a su vida?
All right, so next one. How Star Citizen affected your life? Like when you first played the game, you were expecting it to do any changes or stuff like that, or is just
all these
something
gray
that-
hairs, all these gray hairs.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, in general, how it impacted your life?
I mean, in a very positive way. Star Citizen has been a huge passion of mine since it originally came out on Kickstarter. I mean, it's affected my life for the better part of 10 years through friendships, through opportunities, through running the YouTube channel, which I never in a million years thought I'd be running a YouTube channel talking about space games. You know, I still have my career, I still have my job, I still have my life, but it's funny because the career that I have, it's a lot of high stress situations, it's a lot of training and difficulty. And I always laugh because my superior, I tell him about some of the stuff that bugs me about Star Citizen, and he kind of laughs. He goes, you know, you get more worked up about this imaginary space game than you do at your job. And I sometimes kind of giggle because it's true. It's, you know, I have a very difficult job, but I love it. But yet when you sit me down to talk about Star Citizen, I get all fired up. And he's just like, you really love that game? I'm like, yeah, I really do, you know? Because when we care about something, we get passionate about it, you know? And I genuinely really care about the game. And it's why I think the state of the game at the present time is so painful. It's like breaking up with a girlfriend. Because I really enjoyed the game, and then all of a sudden it just changed into something that just isn't anywhere close to as exciting as it used to be. So it's been a tough change, but I do know it'll get better. I do know it'll expand its horizons and update itself, and so I'm just kind of waiting patiently for it to figure its stuff out, the best way I can put it.
Felicidad, ¿cómo afectó el Star Citizen en tu vida? ¿Cómo te ha cambiado?
Bueno, pues básicamente pues me he convertido en streamer, que ya es bastante, y ahora pues vivo de eso. O sea, yo creo que es un cambio bastante gordo.
Sí.
Entonces, la verdad que pues todos los días tengo como unas 10.000 horas jugadas de Star Citizen. Entonces son bastantes cambios. O sea, yo, me levanto, vivo y duermo con Star Citizen. Básicamente, ¿no? Es un juego que me gusta mucho y lo que dice Avenger, pues también, efectivamente, conocer a un montón de gente y sobre todo, gente de todas partes del mundo, ¿no? Es una cosa que me gusta mucho de Star Citizen, poder hablar y ver y conocer otras y compartir momentos con gente que son de culturas completamente diferentes, ¿no?
Claro.
Algo bastante divertido.
Ahora, ya para finalizar la entrevista, ustedes que son ambos dos pilotos extraordinarios en Star Citizen, quisiera que por favor les den algún consejo a los nuevos pilotos, aparte del de tener paciencia, ¿no? O a los nuevos jugadores de Star Citizen en general en el juego. ¿Qué consejo les darían a los nuevos jugadores? Y eso, básicamente.
Yep. Okay, so the final one will be: will you give any advice to the new players instead, or a part of being patient with the game, or anything like something to start up and get like that love for the game that we do?
So, like advice for new players to get into the game?
No, a los
Yeah,
jugadores que recién están empezando.
That they're starting, like new players that are already
Por
in the game.
ejemplo,
So they're
que
just...
necesitan...
Initiative for starters.
Yeah.
Just that.
We currently have a very terrible new player experience. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's likely not going to change until we get Squadron 42 out the door, because so much is changing. CIG doesn't want to spend the time and the resources in teaching you to play the game if they don't even know what the game is.
Yes, good.
So it's up to the content creators at the time to kind of help push it along. But for a new player to get caught with the bug, I guess you could say, get involved in multi-crew. Don't play
alone
by yourself. Don't do it. Star Citizen's a great game, and you can definitely have fun playing solo. But it's nothing like when you play with a group of people. We had an experiment a couple of days ago where we took an Idris, and people joined our Discord, and they were welcome to join us as part of the crew. And a lot of them were like, this is so cool. Like, we're on a board a ship, and people are landing fighters, and we're doing stuff, and we're flying around. And they're like, I've never had this experience before. And now, obviously, that's the best experience you can have, is on an Idris with a bunch of friends. But people should be pushing towards group stuff. Even if you're in a 2 or a 3 player team, you want to play together. Like, you want to play together.
Yeah.
So any new player out there, if you don't have friends who play Star Citizen, go make some friends. Like, use voice chat and just say, hey, where are you going? Do you need a wingman or whatever? That one thing will expand your horizons for the game considerably. And it's likely that you'll find someone who maybe does know how to play the game, and they will kind of tutor or mentor you into experiencing different parts of the game that you probably would have never expected, or would have taken you a lot longer to figure out. So for new players, go get some friends to play with. Don't be shy. There's a lot of folks out there. If you don't find someone that wants to play with you, keep looking. There is someone out there for you.
Thank you. Y cuéntanos, Herbicida.
Lo mismo, ¿no? Yo creo que es lo mejor, lo más fácil para una persona que está empezando. Yo creo que es juntarse con gente, buscar orgs, organizaciones, orgs en Star Citizen o streamers que estén ahí streamando. Yo creo que muchos de nosotros somos gente, la mayoría, todo el mundo que conozco es abierto a la hora de recibir nuevos jugadores y es mucho más fácil aprender, ¿no? Con gente que ya sabe jugar o con gente que está pues en grupo, porque pues si tú aprendes una cosa y tu compañero aprende otra, pues los dos aprendéis dos cosas, ¿no?
Claro.
Y luego creo que también es importante, si la gente que se quiera comprar periféricos, joystick, hotas, hosas, lo que sea, que a la hora de configurar, que sigan una guía, que no lo hagan por su cuenta, porque digamos que hay gente que lleva jugando mucho tiempo a Star Citizen y que sabe cómo, o sea, sabe lo que funciona a la hora de poder pues manejar un joystick o manejar una palanca de gases.
Ujú.
Y creo que es mucho más sencillo partir de una base sólida de alguien que lleva tiempo jugando, porque sí que he visto a lo largo de pues el tiempo jugando de gente que tenía pues mal puesto lo que es el tema de pues cómo manejar la nave, y eso dificulta mucho el aprendizaje. Pues lo que interesa es tener eso lo más simplificado posible, ¿no? Para poder mejorar en
Mucha-
cuanto a PvP y
claro.
cosas, ¿no?
Ujú. Thank you very much, Avenger One. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for stay here. Muchísimas gracias, Herbicida, por darnos esta
Gracias a ti.
entrevista. Y pues a ver si nos vemos en otra oportunidad o si nos vemos por el verso. Y nos estamos viendo. Cuídense. Chao.
Hasta luego.
Chao, chao, chao.
Bye, guys.
Bye, bye, bye.